Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and you're welcome to Avon Money Pork Sean McDiarmid for the draws for the 2021 Club Championships. We're delighted to be here bringing you this draw remotely given the circumstances, and I'm joined here by the chairperson of the CCC, Seamus O'Rourke, and Seamus McManus, and the secretary, Vincent O'Rourke. And we'll be conducting the three draws as we go through, from starting with the Junior A Championship, Corrib Junior A Championship, through the Intermediate Championship, which is sponsored by Smith Monumentals, and then we'll obviously conclude then with the Connacht Gold Senior Championship draw. So all that is for a little bit later on, but just to introduce things, I want to welcome the chairperson of Leitrim GAA, Enda Stenson, who will say a few words to you. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Declan. It has been already said, you're all very welcome out in Facebook land, online, wherever you're watching. I think this modern technology, and again, I want to just, before I go any further, say thank you to Con and Brendan Doyle for your hours of hard work to get us out to the public in Leitrim. But anyway, this is probably the most exciting time of the year for club football. We hear a lot of time about county players, but that's only 2 or 3%. Everybody that kicks a ball in the county, 100% club football. Everybody is a club footballer. So this is your night. This is when the draws are made for the championship. We'll know from now where we're going and who we're playing. So I just want to thank our sponsors. Without our sponsors, it would be difficult to run any competition or anything in a county like Leitrim. So first of all, I just want to thank Connacht Gold for their continued support of the Senior Championship, for Smith's Monumental Ballinamore for their support of the Intermediate Championship, and for the Junior Championship, I want to thank Corrib, Carrigan Shannon. And without any further ado, I think it's time that we got on with the draw. Nobody wants to be listening to me or anybody else speaking. So the draw you're interested, I just want to wish everybody the best of luck, and we will be back here in October for the finals. So have a lovely summer. Thank you very much.
Thanks for that. And we will start with the Corrib Junior A Championship. Now, I suppose just to explain to you in relation to our draws, because they're seeded, we have 4 different groups or pots to deal with. And it's also further complicated, you could say, by the fact that, unfortunately, due to COVID, we didn't get the championships of 2020 concluded. So there's an outstanding final still remaining, and that involves Ahavas and Clune, which will be on in 2 weeks' time, or less than 2 weeks, the weekend after next. So in the draw, you will see Ahavas or Clune. Whoever is the defeated team in that final will be taking their place in the Junior Championship draw. And we have something similar with the Junior B Championship final, which wasn't played either, which involves Allen Gales or Mohall. So it will become apparent as we go through the draw what way we're doing it. So the first pot is contains actually Ahavas or Clune, who are one of those will be the defeated finalists in this year, and Estlin, which was the relegated team from last year's Intermediate Championship. So if you do the draw, lads, for the first ball out, we'll go into Group 1.
Estlin.
And that's Estlin. Estlin into Group 1. And the second team out is obviously, should be Ahavas or Clune.
Ahavas or Clune.
Okay, so that's the first pot done. Now, pot 2 contains the beaten semi-finalists from last year, which are Glencar, Manor Hamilton, and Glenfarne, Kilty Clogher. And the same pattern will follow. The first team out will go into Group 1. Glenfarne, Kilty Clogher. Okay, we'll go into Group 1. Glencar, Manor Hamilton into Group 2. So the third pot then contains the beaten quarterfinalists from last year's Junior A Championship, and that being Anaduff, Ballinamore, Sean O'Hestins, Carrigallen, and St Mary's, Kiltahart. So the first team out will go into Group 1. Carrigallen, your own club, Shamey, into Group 1. St Mary's, Group 2. Ballinamore, Sean O'Hestons into Group 1. And finally, Anaduff, the fourth team into Group 2. And the last pot, Pot D, contains the team which won last year's relegation final, that being Ahawillan, and the Allen Gales or Mohill, whichever wins this year's or the 2020 Junior B Championship final. Ahawillan into Group 1.
Allen Gales or Mohill.
And Allen Gales or Mohill into Group 2. So what we've done now is we've completed the 2 sets of groups. Now, to decide the order of the games and the fixtures as they come, we have to take all of the teams of Group 1 and we'll call them out in order from 1 to 5. So the first team out will be team number 1 in Group 1.
Sean O'Hestons.
Ballinamore, Sean O'Hestons, team 1. Estlin, team 2. Carrigallen, team 3. Team number 4. Ahawillan. And finally, Glenfarne Kilty Claher will be the 5th team in the Corrib Junior A Championship for 2021, Group 1. So now we're going to have Group 2. Glencar Manor Hamilton, the first team into Group 2.
Allen Gales or Mohill.
Allen Gales or Mohill becomes the second team in Group 2.
Vass or Clune.
Vass or Clune becomes the third team into Group 2. The fourth team,
St. Mary's.
St. Mary's Kiltahart take their place in the fourth spot in Group 2. And finally, Anaduff will take 5th place in the Corrib Junior A Championship for 2021. So just to recap on that, Group 1, the teams that will be participating in that are Ballinamore, Sean O'Hestons, Estlin, Carrigallen, Ahawillan and Glenfarne Kilty Claher. And in Group 2, Glencar Manor Hamilton, Allen Gales or Mohill, depending on who wins the Junior B Championship. Vass or Clune, depending on who is the defeated team in the Junior A Championship final of 2020, St. Mary's Kiltahart and Anaduff. Okay, so that concludes the draw for the 2021 Corrib Junior A Championship. So now we will move on to the Smith Monumentals Intermediate Championship for 2021. And again, because obviously the Junior A Championship final from 2020 hasn't been played, you'll see Vass or Clune appearing here again. And because the Smith Monumentals intermediate final of last year hasn't been played, the finalist will obviously have a winner or a defeated team, and whichever team is defeated from Anaduff or Gartlettra will take their place in the 2021 Smith Monumentals Intermediate Championship for 2021. So we start off the draw with Pot A, which contains Anaduff or Gartlettra, and Drumreilly, which was the team which was relegated from last year's Connacht Gold Senior Football Championship.
Anaduff or Gartlettra.
Anaduff or Gartlettra, first team into Group 1.
Drumreilly.
And Drumreilly, first team into Group 2. So now we continue on with the second pot, which is last year's defeated semi-finalists in the Smith Monumentals Intermediate Championship, that being Carrigallen and St. Patrick's Drumahare. First team out into Group 1, Seamus. Drumahare. St. Patrick's Drumahare, first team into Group 1.
Carrigallen.
And Carrigallen, first team into Group 2. And I see a local derby popping up there straight away between Drumreilly and Carrigallen at the group stages. Second, pot number 3 contains the 4 defeated quarter-finalists from last year. That being Aucknasheelan, Ballinadlera, Bornacoola and Drumcairn. Okay, so the first team out here will be put into Group 1.
Ballinadlera.
Okay, so Ballinadlera will join Anaduff Letra and St. Patrick's Dromahare. Drumcairn. First team into Group 2. Third team into Group 2. Aucknasheelan. Fourth team into Group 1. And finally, Bornacoola, the fourth team into Group 2. So we're taking shape with the Smith Monumentals Championship draw. We have the last pot to deal with, which is Pot D, which contains 2 teams. Kilturbert from last year's relegation final, and also Ahavas or Clune, whichever wins the Junior A Championship for this year. Kilturbert into Group 1. And Ahavas or Clune into Group 2. So we have to repeat the process now of what we did for the Corrib Junior Championship, which means we go back to Group 1 and we're going to draw the teams out, the 5 teams out, to decide the order of the fixtures. Ballinadlera, first team out into Group 1. Dromahare, first team into Group 2. Group 1. Second team in Group 1, yeah. Aucknasheelan will be team number 3.
Anaduff or
Letra, team number 4. And Kilturbert finally make up the team slot in number 5. Okay, so we'll move on. We'll repeat the process now. The same thing for Group 2. First team out, Seamus. Bornacoola, first team into Group 2. Drumcairn, second team in second place. Drumreilly into slot number 3. Ahavas or Clune into slot number 4. Hold on just 1 second. And Carrigallen finally now something. Just hold on there a second. Drumreilly, yeah. Drumreilly is team number 3, yeah. Ahavas or Clune, yeah. And Carrigallen, team number 5. Okay. So that concludes the order of the games. That was just to decide the order in which the fixtures come, as you know, everybody has to play each other. So if I could just recap on that there before we go on to the next one. In the Group 1 of the Smith Monumentals Intermediate Championship for 2021, the teams are in order: Ballinadlera, St. Patrick's Dromahare, Aucknasheelan, Anaduff Letra, Kilturbert. And in Group 2, Bornacoola, Drumcairn, Drumreilly, Ahavas or Clune, and finally Carrigallen. So that concludes the draw for the Smith Monumentals Intermediate Championship for 2021, and the order of the games has already been decided by that particular draw. And we will move on now swiftly to the Connacht Gold Senior Football Championship. But before that, we're joined by, remotely I must say, by John Connor, the area sales manager for Connacht Gold, who has a message for us on behalf of the sponsors.
Thanks very much, Declan. John Connor here from Revo Consumer Foods. We're delighted to partner with Leitrim GA once again to sponsor the Connacht Gold 2021 Leitrim Senior Football Championship. We partnered with Leitrim now for a number of years, and it has been a very, very successful partnership. I'd like to take this opportunity to especially thank the people of Leitrim for continuing to support the Connacht Gold range of products. In doing so, you're supporting farm families, local jobs, and folks, we're all in this together. I'd like to thank the principal officers of Leitrim GAA, and we look forward to a very successful 2021 partnership. To all the teams in the draw tonight, on behalf of Revo and the Connacht Gold brand, I'd like to wish you the very best of luck. Thank you.
Thank you very much, John, for that message on behalf of Connacht Gold, the competition sponsors for 2021. So I suppose this is our Connacht Gold Senior Championship draw for 2021, which will be much awaited. And again, you will see, and this is not as cluttered, if you like, with it either or, as there is in this case just one, that being Anajoff or Gardletra, whichever team wins the Smith Monumentals Intermediate Football Championship for 2020, the final, which is due to be played on the weekend after next. So the very same process we go through with 4 pots. Pot A contains the 2 finalists from last year, Mohill, who are the defending champions, and St. Mary's Kiltahart. So Vincy and Seamus, we'll put them into the bag and we'll draw the first team out into Group 1.
Mohill.
First team out, defending champions from 2020, Mohill are the first team into Group 1.
St. Mary's.
And St. Mary's Kiltahart, first team out into Group 2. So Pot B contains the 2 teams which were defeated in last year's semi-finals, that being Fina St. Callans and Glencar Manor Hamilton. So with further ado, the first team out will be drawn into Group 1.
Fina St. Callans.
Fina St. Callans. They met in the group stages last year. And finally, Glencar Manor Hamilton. Okay, the first team, second team into Group 2. Pot C contains the 4 teams which were defeated in the quarterfinals from last year, that being Allen Gales, Ballinamore Sean O'Hestons, Leitrim Gales, and Melvin Gales. And the first team out will be drawn into Group 1.
Sean O'Hestons.
Ballinamore Sean O'Hestons.
Melvin Gales.
Melvin Gales. Third team into Group 2.
Allen Gales.
Allen Gales. Third team into Group 1.
Leitrim Gales.
And finally, Leitrim Gales, the fourth team into Group 2. And all that remains to complete this draw is from Pot D, Ahowillan, who won last year's relegation final, and whichever team wins this year's the 2020 Intermediate Football Championship, that being either Anaduff or Gardletra. So the first team out will go into Group 1.
Ahowillan.
Ahowillan into Group 1. And
Anaduff or Gardletra.
Anaduff or Gardletra into Group 2. So now we will conclude the draw by drawing the teams into the order in which they'll arrive in the groups, and that will decide the order of the fixture. So the first team in Group 1 will be Seamus.
Mohill.
Mohill.
Fina St. Callans.
Fina St. Callans into slot number 2.
Sean O'Hestons.
Ballinamore Sean O'Hestons, number 3.
Allen Gales.
Allen Gales.
Same as we.
And finally,
Ahowillan.
Ahowillan. Okay, so that decides the order of the games in the first round. And before we do that, we just do a quick cap on what you can look forward to in round 1, which will be played on the weekend of the 7th of August. And in round 1, in the first 2 games in the Senior Championship, will be Mohill at home to Allen Gales, and Fina St. Callans will be at home to Ballinamore Sean O'Hestons. Okay, so that's just to give you a flavour of what's coming up, and the rest of them we'll see as we go along. So the first team out into Group 2 is Glencar Manor Hamilton. And it's team number 2, Seamus.
Anaduff or Gardletra.
Anaduff or Gardletra.
Melvin Gales.
Melvin Gales, team number 3.
St. Mary's.
St. Mary's Kiltahart, team number 4.
Leitrim Gales.
Leitrim Gales, team number 5. Okay, so that concludes the draw. And just again to give you a flavour, I suppose, we'll give you the 2 games in that round that you can look forward to on the weekend of the 7th of August, and that being Glencarman or Hamilton versus St. Mary's Kiltahart, and Anaduff Orgard Letra versus Melvin Gales. And again, as we go down through those championship draws, you will see that there will be 2 homes. There will be two games at home and 2 games away for each team. It's something that we introduced last year, and we are continuing with it for this year. So each team is guaranteed 2 home games and guaranteed 2 away games, and they will be running right down through from the weekend of the 7th of August. So that concludes the draws for the Connacht Gold Senior Championship and the Smith Monumentals Intermediate Football Championship and the Corrib Oil Junior A Football Championship for 2021. The fixtures, or the draws, as I should say, will be handed over to Seamus and Vincy and their CCC committee, and they will be obviously administering them through that period of time. And we look forward very much to the games beginning around that weekend of the 7th of August for the Senior Championship, the Intermediate Championship to take place commencing the following weekend. And as they roll through August and into September, and to, as Enda said earlier, concluding stages in October. So we hope that all clubs are successful in this draw. Again, every team will have designs on winning the particular championships that they're in, and all we can do or remains to say to you at this stage is to wish all of our clubs the very best of luck in the 2021 club championships. And just to conclude, I would like to again thank Seamus and Vincy for conducting the draw here on behalf of the CCC and Leitrim GAA, and for Enda for supervising it as chairperson, and particularly to our backroom team of Brendan and Con Doyle, who have ensured that this we can confidently say has flowed out to the airwaves. And that's all we have to say. Let the games begin. Garamila Mahagav.